45 minutes आपके पास में टोटल टॉपिक है ना, इन सब पे बात करेंगे। इधर अभी पूरी क्या है अच्छा चलो ठीक।
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am Professor Mahrukh. Today your topic is antimicrobial drug. So first of all, we have the learning objective. What are the objective? You should know the name of the drug. Name of the drug, you can say the enlist the drug and its mechanism of action of the drug. Second objective and third is the part are the pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamic. What are the clinical uses of the drug? Side effects of the drug and adverse effect of the drug. And last one is the drug interactions. So these are the learning objective. What are our learning objective today's lectures? Name the drugs or enlist the drugs. Second, what is the pharmacodynamic, or you can say the mechanism of action of the drug. Kinetic, how the drug is absorbed, distributed, metabolized and excreted. And fourth one is the clinical uses of the drug. And fifth one, or adverse effect of the drug. Drug interactions. The topic is the antimicrobial. We divide the lecture into two topics, two lectures. Today we will discuss the first one, the lecture 1. And before going to the actual topic, you should know what is tuberculosis. You know, the tuberculosis is an infectious disease that is caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. And primarily it is involved in lungs, but may attack most of the organ of the body. And what are the clinical features? Are the fever, anorexia, loss of appetite, hemoptysis, cough, sputum, weight loss, anemia, and the most important diagnostic sign is the sweating at night and enlarged lymph node. Because they can cause the tubercle formations, necrosis. It can cause tubercle formation, necrosis and fibrosis of the lungs. सही हो? आवाज सही? नहीं, स्लाइड ही मैंने थोड़ा सा इंट्रोडक्शन करा. अच्छा. टॉपिक स्टूडेंट को मैसेज. अच्छा नहीं, असल में लर्निंग ऑब्जेक्टिव तो बनाया नहीं था ना मैंने, तो बेटा बहुत सकता. These are the causative organism. Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Okay. Tuberculosis can cause tuberculosis. And second is the atypical mycobacteria. And we again divide a Mycobacterium avium complex. So Mycobacterium, they produce infectious disease. Mycobacteria can cause two diseases, tuberculosis and leprosy, and it is very difficult to treat it because they are slow growing bacteria and may remain dormant in the host for long period. And where it live, it remain alive inside of the macrophages. So that's why the many antibacterial agents do not penetrate the cell wall of the mycobacteria. And mycobacteria are very fragile. It also develops the resistance to the single therapeutic agents. So what is tuberculosis? Is caused by mycobacteria, and that is a chronic infectious disease. Primarily, it involves the lungs, but may attack most of the organs of the body. So it is a very slow growing bacteria, dormant in the host for long period and remain alive inside of the macrophages. That's why the main of the antibacterial agent do not penetrate the cell wall of the mycobacteria and produce the resistance. When the patient have taken the single chemotherapeutic agent, so we use in the combination to prevent the resistance of the drug. So effective therapy of the mycobacterial infection require prolonged courses, 6 to 9 months, and it consists of more than 2 or 3 drugs, or you can say the multiple drugs. And what are the causative organisms? By Mycobacterium bacilli. These are the human pathogens, important pathogens. And other human pathogens are the Mycobacterium tuberculosis, Mycobacterium bovis. And we also call it atypical Mycobacterium. That is the Mycobacterium avium, Mycobacterium kansasi, Mycobacterium fortuitum, and Mycobacterium marinum can also produce the disease in the humans. But the main effect, Mycobacterium tuberculosis bacilli, they mainly affect the lungs. So, and there are other pathogens, they also can cause the disease. Mycobacterium avium, Mycobacterium kansasi, Mycobacterium fortuitum, Bacterium marinum. All these organisms, they produce the disease in the humans. So we divide into 2, typical and atypical. Typical is the tubercle bacilli, and atypical are the avium, kansasi, fortuitum, and marium. Transmission through the orophycal routes. In the mycobacterium, they produce the serious infections to the lung. Mainly they involve the lungs, main organ. Target organ is the lung, otherwise it also affects the intestine, meninges, skin, genitourinary tract. And what is the, though the disease is usually chronic, acute fulminative form, that can, it also lead to infections, can cause the pneumonia. It also, when it spread whole the body, it can cause miliary tuberculosis, can also occur to the lymph node. Nowadays, it is controlled in the developed countries, but it is still common in developing countries like Pakistan, where the leading cause of the death is tuberculosis and increasing AIDS patients. So what is the major site of the organism is the lungs, but may involve in the other part, intestine, meninges, skin, genitourinary tract, apical part. What are the clinical features? How the patient came to you and present? Malaise, loss, anorexia, uneasiness feels, anorexia, loss of appetite, fatigue, weight loss, low-grade fever, night sweat. And cough with purulent sputum when you compare with the other disease. Here the cough with the purulent sputum malaise, anorexia, fatigue, weight loss, low-grade fever, and night sweat. These are the cardinal signs: night sweat and low-grade fever and weight loss. And again, it can cause involvement of the supraclavicular lymph node, enlarge. Here you can see the diagnosis, how you diagnose the tuberculosis: by the X-ray chest, PA view, sputum, staining for acid path bacilli. The major site of the infection is the lung. So these are the diagnostic signs: chest X-ray, sputum with purulent sputum and staining for acid path bacilli. And how you treat. Treatment of tuberculosis is a complex process because it is not treated by a single agent. So it must be treated by two or more than two drugs. Resistance. And treatment must be continued for 6 to 9 months in uncomplicated cases of the pulmonary tuberculosis. And when the complication occurs, treatment at 12 to 18 hours, days, 18 to 24 months. Complicated cases, forms of the disease may require therapy 18 to 24 hours, month, 18 to 24 months. And uncomplicated case, the treatment must be continued for 6 to 9 months. This is asked in the exam, in the YOC. What is the treatment period of the uncomplicated cases of the pulmonary tuberculosis and complicated cases of treatment? So what is the normal uncomplicated treatment is the 6 to 9 months, and complicated form may require 18 to 24 months. And we divide the antituberculous drug into 2 line therapy. First line, or we call it as standard drugs. And second line, or we call it as reserve drug. So today we will discuss the first line therapy of the antituberculous drug. The first line or standard drugs. And what is the name of the drug? Isoniazid, rifampin, ethambutol, pyrazinamide, and in some book it is written streptomycin come under the heading of first line. Nowadays it is not used because the more standard drug come in the market. And due to its toxic effect or adverse effect. But in some cases it may be used. Drug is more important: isoniazid, rifampin, ethambutol, pyrazinamide, and we add again the pyridoxine. Is an anti-vitamin B6. Pyridoxine is a vitamin B6. So what is the 4 drugs? Isoniazid, rifampin, streptomycin plus pyridoxine is the first line therapy, or we call that standard drug. So how you classify the antituberculous drug? We divide into two parts. First line, standard drug. Second line, or reserve drug. Second line or reserve drug. What is the name of the drug? Para-amino salicylic acid, ethionamide, cycloserine, capreomycin, aminoglycoside, and which include the kanamycin, amikacin. rifabutin, quinolones, again consider moxifloxacin and gefloxacin. What are the name of the second line or reserve drug? Para-aminosalicylic acid, ethionamide, cycloserine, capreomycin, aminoglycoside, and can include the kanamycin and amikacin, rifabutin, quinolone, moxifloxacin, and the gefloxacin. Now the first line therapy of the drug, and first group is the isoniazid. And I told you in the beginning why we use in the combination. Are given to prevent the bacterial resistance to the drugs. So isoniazid, what is the mechanism of action of isoniazid? Isoniazid, or you can say the isonicotinic acid. This is the chemical name, hydrazide. So what isoniazid is a prodrug. You know what do you mean by prodrug? Prodrug, inactive drug. When enter the body, it convert into the active drug. So you should know what do we mean by prodrug. And it is a prodrug. It is activated by mycobacterial catalase peroxidase enzyme that convert isoniazid into the active metabolites. So isoniazid is a prodrug, and mycobacterium catalase peroxidase enzyme that convert isoniazid to inactive metabolite. Mycobacterium catalase peroxidase called as CAD enzyme that convert the isoniazid into its active metabolites. And this active metabolite, this inhibits the synthesis of mycolic acid. You know the mycolic acid is the essential component of mycobacterial cell wall. So how they inhibit this? It means the isoniazid, they target the enzyme, two enzymes, acyl carrier protein reductase, INHA. And second, beta keto acyl ACP synthetase enzyme. These are the essential enzymes. And that is inhibited by isoniazid. And these are the essential for the synthesis of the mycolic acid. In this way, we inhibit the mycolic acid. And resulting what will happen? It can cause the disruption of the bacterial cell wall. So what is the mechanism of action of the isoniazid? Isoniazid is a prodrug. Okay, and that is activated by Mycobacterium catalase peroxidase enzyme that convert into the active metabolite. We also called as CAD-G. And again, after convert into its active metabolite that target the enzyme, two enzymes, acyl carrier protein reductase and beta keto acyl ACP synthetase, or we call it as Cas-A. Both these enzymes are essential for the synthesis of mycolic acid. And the isoniazid, they inhibit these both enzymes. And in this way, they inhibit the mycolic acid synthesis. And this leads to disruption of the what will happen when there is a mycolic deficiency can occur. This can cause the disruption of the microbial cell wall, especially growing bacteria. the property of the acid fastness of the mycobacteria is lost when it is. Now the drug is tuberculocidal for the rapidly growing bacteria. There are two types of the tubercle bacilli, in the resting condition or they are rapidly growing. The drug is tuberculocidal for the rapidly growing tubercle bacilli and tuberculostatic in the resting organism. The bacilli that are in resting state. So they have a dual property, bacteriostatic B and bactericidal. The drug is tuberculocidal for the rapidly growing tubercle bacilli and tuberculostatic. It means they inhibit the bacteria in the resting organism, kill the bacteria and inhibit the growth of the bacteria. So it means the isoniazid have both properties, static properties. Now another problem of the antituberculous drug is they cause the resistance. It means, what do we mean by resistant? Drug do not produce its effect, beneficial effect or therapeutic effect. This is a major problem that is associated with chemotherapy of the tuberculosis. So that's why it is not used as a single agent. We use in the combination of the drug. Okay, tubercle bacilli develop resistance rapidly when it is used as a single agent. So should be treated, TB should be treated with combination of 2 or more drugs. What is the mechanism of action of the isoniazid resistance? The most common mechanism of isoniazid resistance is the mutation. And you know what is mutation? It is a change that occur in DNA sequence. Mutation, and where mutation can occur? It occurs in this enzyme, catalase peroxidase, CAT gene, that convert the isoniazid into active metabolite. Whenever there is a mutation of this enzyme, that decrease its activity, and it prevents the conversion of prodrug of isoniazid to its active metabolites. So how they produce it? Therapeutic effect. So where resistance occur, mutation can occur in the CAT gene, or we can say the catalase peroxidase enzyme. So it can't cause a prevent the conversion of isoniazid prodrug into its active metabolite. Or second, another cause of the isoniazid resistance is due to failure of the drug to enter. It means the drug do not enter into the organism. Okay, and there is no cross resistance can occur between the isoniazid, rifampin, ethambutol, and anti-TB drugs. Okay, the resistance can also occur, mutation can occur in the acyl carrier proteins that is essential for the or necessary for the mycolic acid synthesis. So here the mutation can occur. So what is the most common cause of isoniazid resistance? The mutation in CAT gene, catalase peroxidase enzyme, that decreases its activity, so it can't convert the prodrug into the active drug. So drug do not produce its therapeutic effect. And what are the pharmacokinetics of the isoniazid? Absorptions. Isoniazid is rapidly absorbed when orally. So rapidly absorbed either orally or parenterally. Isoniazid diffuse readily into other body tissues. All other body tissues fluid and cells. The drug is detectable in the pleural and peritoneal fluid. Concentration, the CSF, are similar to those of the plasma. So isoniazid that also penetrate well into the caseous material. So how the drug is absorbed orally. Absorption is impaired if taken with food. Taken in empty stomach, and particularly the carbohydrate and antacid. They interfere, carbohydrate and antacid. So that's why it is given before breakfast, or you can say it should be given in empty stomach. How the absorption is hindrance or impaired when the patient is taken with food, particularly carbohydrate foods or antacid. So therefore, it should be given before breakfast or in empty stomach. And how the drug is metabolized, metabolism and excretion. Drug is metabolized acetylation process in liver, phase 2. You know, there are two types of metabolism, phase 1 reaction and phase 2. Acetylation is the phase 2 reactions. The drug is metabolized by acetylation in the liver. And it is excreted in urine within 24 hours. Now, how it is excreted? It is excreted in urine through kidney. The dose adjustments is required when the patient has hepatic insufficiency, but not in the renal failure. Okay, there are two types of the acetylator, slow acetylator and fast acetylator or rapid acetylator. In rapid acetylator, isoniazid has short half-life, that is 1 hour. In slow acetylation, isoniazid half-life is long, that is more than 3 hours. So how the drug is metabolized? It is metabolized in the liver by acetylation process, and it is excreted in urine. And what are the side effects? The most common side effect, because these drugs are more important, so you should know each and everything. Side effect, the most common side effect is the hypersensitivity. And how it represents by skin rashes and fever. Direct toxicity. It can cause hepatitis and peripheral neuritis, or you can say the caused by isoniazid. And the most frequent and major side effect of the isoniazid is hepatitis. And the risk of hepatitis increases with age, during pregnancy and postpartum period. And how it is manifested? Manifested by jaundice, hypochondrial pain, and raised liver enzyme. And the second is the most common toxic effect are the peripheral and central nervous system, or you can call the peripheral neuropathy. And this occurs due to the pyridoxine deficiency. Because of these drugs, they can cause excretion of the vitamin B6. And how you prevent the peripheral neuropathy? By giving the drug pyridoxine. When you prescribe the first line therapy, you also give the pyridoxine to prevent the peripheral neuropathy, because the isoniazid can cause increased excretion of the pyridoxine. And the certain pediatrics are also involved, that is diabetic patient and malnutrition. and how the patient present with the peripheral neuropathy by paresthesia. But this paresthesia or peripheral neuritis is corrected by giving the pyridoxine supplement. And the peripheral neuropathy is the paresthesia or insomnia, restlessness, muscle twitching, and psychotic episode. If the patient is accidental isoniazid overdoses, so how you treat? By giving pyridoxine is an act as an antidote of the iso. So what are the side effects of the isoniazid? Is the hypersensitive reaction and direct toxicity is the hepatitis. Second, the peripheral neuropathy. So how you prevent the peripheral neuropathy? By adding the supplement of the pyridoxine. This way we prevent the pyridoxine deficiency. What is the side effect? The patient who have a diabetes, mellitus, poor nutrition and anemia. In these patients, the neuropathy most frequently develop. Yes, and the isoniazid also associated with hepatic. I have told you the definitor. How you observe, so you should hepatotoxicity observed by the abnormal liver function test, jaundice. And the hepatitis liver damage, especially the patient who have in old age. And again, the risk of hepatitis is higher in alcohol, and hepatotoxicity may of the isoniazid. And the hepatitis can occur for 4 to 8 weeks after the start of the therapy, not immediate effect, can take time. And when you stop the drug, recover. Okay, when symptoms of hepatitis develop or jaundice can occur, abnormal liver function tests are detected, so therapy must be discontinued. And drug interactions, again, the isoniazid, they decrease the metabolism of the phenytoin. So you should know the name of the drug, phenytoins. Drug should be used with great caution the patient in hepatic insufficiency and epilepsy, because the isoniazid, they decrease the metabolism of the phenytoin in the epileptic patients, and the drug accumulate in the body and produce toxic effect. So contraindication not given with the epileptic patients and the hepatic failure patients. What are the clinical uses of the isoniazid? First is used in the treatment of tuberculosis with other anti-tuberculous drug. It also used for prevent the neurotoxicity that is caused by isoniazid. And isoniazid is also used for the prevention of tuberculosis. The first clinical use is the tuberculosis. Second is the when the isoniazid can cause neurotoxicity, to give the pyridoxine. And it is also used for the prevention of the tuberculosis. But the most common is the TB. And the second drug is the rifampin. It is a semi-synthetic derivative of rifamycin. Rifamycin, they consist of rifampin, rifampicin, and rifapentin. they are structurally similar, or you can say the microcyclic antibiotic, which is the first line oral agent for tuberculosis. So what is the antibacterial? What are the causative organisms? They are effective. Rifampin, they are effective against the main gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria. You should know the name of the gram-positive and gram-negative. So Streptococci, E. coli, Pseudoproteus, Klebsiella, Meningococci, Haemophilus influenzae, Legionella. And rifampin is also effective against the typical and atypical tuberculous bacilli. So Mycobacterium tuberculosis, typical and atypical bovis, Kansasi. Again, like the isoniazid, rifampin is also bactericidal, both intra and extra cellular microorganism. So this is the bactericidal agent, while the isoniazid have both properties, bactericidal and bacteriostatic. Now the mechanism of action of the they inhibit the DNA dependent polymerase in the mycobacteria. What is the mechanism of action? They inhibit the DNA dependent RNA polymerase enzyme of mycobacterium and leading to suppression of the RNA synthesis. So what is the mechanism of action? They inhibit the DNA dependent RNA polymerase enzyme of mycobacteria, leading to suppression of initiation of chain formation in the RNA synthesis. But the human RNA polymerase is not affected in lower drug concentration. They only affected in the bacteria. So they inhibit the DNA dependent RNA polymerase enzyme of mycobacteria tuberculosis, leading to suppression of the RNA synthesis. But the human RNA polymerase is not effective in lower drug concentrations. Now again the drug, how the drug develop resistance. Do not produce the therapeutic effect. Again, use alone. Resistance develop rapidly. Therefore, it should be given in combination with other anti-tuberculous drug. And here the resistance may develop due to changes in the binding site. It means alteration of the DNA dependent RNA polymerase. Now the pharmacokinetic, how the drug is absorbed, metabolized and excreted. So it is well absorbed after oral administration. And about 20% of the drug is excreted in the feces. And 50% is excreted in urine in unchanged form. To the liver, into the bile, and then undergo enterohepatic circulation. But bulk are excreted in feces and a small amount is excreted in urine. Dose adjustment is required in renal failure. It can crosses the only inflamed meninges. Widely distributed in the body and its present effective concentration in mainly body fluid, including CSF. So what is the pharmacokinetic? Absorption is well after oral administrations and excreted mainly through the liver in bile and then undergo enterohepatic circulations and excreted in feces and a small amount is excreted in urine. Dose adjustment is In the renal failure is not required because most of the part is excreted through the liver in the bile and in feces. What side effect of the rifampin? Well tolerated. Most common side effects are the skin rashes, fever, nausea, and vomiting. Fever, nausea, skin rashes, and vomiting. Skin rashes also occur in isoniazid. And most notable problem is the development of jaundice due to the hepatitis. And especially the hepatitis is more common in old age. Again, there is incident of hepatitis increase in these conditions is given alone or combined with isoniazid. And rifampin give the harmless color contact lenses, but it is a harmless. And drug interaction, it increases the elimination of anticoagulant drug, anticonvulsant, and oral contraceptive by inducing hepatic enzyme. So therefore, oral contraceptives are not reliable, and other methods should apply for the contraception. So drug interaction with anticonvulsant and oral contraceptive. And ketoconazole, they reduce the rifampin secretions, concentration. Okay, so contraindications are the not given in pregnancy because it can cross the placenta and have a teratogenic effect, but cause is unknown. So that's why it should be avoided during pregnancy. Other side effects, flu-like symptoms, eosinophilia, interstitial nephritis, thrombocytopenia, hemophilia, fatigue, drowsiness, headache, confusions, pain in the extremities, and the muscular weakness has been noted. So what are the side effects? Nausea, vomiting, rashes, fever are the most common. Rifampin give harmless orange color to urine, sweat, tear, and contact. It can cause hepatitis and drug interaction because it impedes the elimination of the anticoagulant, anticonvulsant, and oral contraceptive by inducing enzyme hepatic enzyme. It means it is a induces oral contraceptive. What are the uses of rifampin? Most common it is used in tuberculosis. It is administered with isoniazid, ethambutol, antituberculous to delay the resistance. It is also given in meningococcal carrier state. It is effective in infections with staphylococci, Haemophilus influenzae infection. In that case, we also use rifampin. It is not effective in malaria. So what are it is used in meningococcal carrier state infections. It is also effective in infection that is caused by staphylococci, Haemophilus influenzae. In that case, we use rifampin. So that's okay, third. Okay. We said there are 4 drugs in first line therapy: isoniazid, rifampin, And third one is the ethambutol. Isoniazid, rifampin, and ethambutol. They are against ineffective against the other bacteria. It is effective against the tubercle bacilli that is sensitive to the ethambutol. It suppresses the growth of the isoniazid and resistance mycobacteria. So ethambutol is a tuberculostatic drug, and the exact mechanism of action is not known. It inhibits the incorporation of the mycolic acid into the mycobacterial cell wall. Ethambutol, they inhibit the RNA synthesis. But the exact mechanism is not known. They inhibit the incorporation of mycolic acid into the mycobacterium cell wall. Drug resistance, again, like the isoniazid rifampin, can develop when the drug used alone. Or it is well absorbed from GIT and drug is excreted unchanged. Largely it is excreted unchanged in urine. The ethambutol is well absorbed. What is the pharmacokinetics? Well absorbed after oral administration, and the most of the drug are excreted unchanged in urine. Only 20% are excreted in feces. It is nearly all the strain tubercle bacilli are sensitive to the ethambutol. It is ineffective against the other bacteria. It suppresses the growth of the isoniazid and streptomycin resistance mycobacteria. The patient who are resistant to the streptomycin, so this drug, they are effective. It is a tuberculostatic drug. Like the rifampin is tuberculocidal drug, and the isoniazid have both property tuberculocidal and tuberculostatic drug. But this ethambutol is a tuberculostatic drug. Only they are effective against the Mycobacterium tuberculosis or strains of Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Okay, they suppress ethambutol. It suppresses the growth of the most of the isoniazid and streptomycin resistant tubercular bacilli. The patient who are resistant to the isoniazid and streptomycin bacilli, this drug can suppress the growth of isoniazid and streptomycin resistant tubercle bacilli. And the resistance to the ethambutol develop very slowly as compared to the isoniazid and rifampin. They develop resistance rapidly, but the ethambutol, they develop resistance slowly. What are the side effects? Most important drug. Ask in the VOC, come in the Viva or speak exam. The incidence of the optic neuritis. Most common side effect is the optic neuritis. So how you observe this side effect? Test of visual acuity and red-green discrimination prior to start of the therapy and periodically thereafter should be performed. So what is the most common side effect of the isoniazid? Is optic neuritis. And how you observe? By testing the visual acuity and red and green discoloration prior to start of the therapy, and periodically thereafter should be performed. In this way, you observe its side effects. Dose is not important for you. The second side effect, the ethambutol can cause increased uric acid levels. The contraindication in the patient who have a gout. That can also produce the skin rashes, fever, gastrointestinal upset, joint pain, mental confusion, hallucination, numbness of the finger due to the peripheral neuritis. These side effects are but infrequent. What are the clinical uses of the ethambutol? It is used with other anti-tuberculosis drugs for the treatment of tuberculosis. Not important. Another group is the streptomycin. The streptomycin is the first clinical available effective drug for the use for the treatment of tuberculosis. And what is streptomycin? Is aminoglycoside. It is least used nowadays due to its side effect. It is bactericidal. It does not kill the intracellular tubercle bacilli. It means that the drug does not enter the cells. And drug is not absorbed through the gut. That's why it should be given parenterally. Again, the bacteria develop resistance when streptomycin used alone. Its use is limited to severe infection. Can use, but its use is limited in severe infections. And what are the side effects of the streptomycin? It produces the hypersensitivity, ototoxicity, and nephrotoxicity. I have told you its use is limited to the severe infection due to its side effects. And the route is again IM and IV, not oral is given. And therapy should be discontinued after 2 to 3 months. Culture become negative. Okay, prodrug is the, again like the isoniazid, it is a prodrug converted to pyrazinoic acid by the enzyme pyrazinoidase. It is a prodrug converted into pyrazinoic acid by the enzyme pyrazinoidase. Okay, it is a synthetic analogue of the nicotinamide. It is a tuberculocidal drug to both extracellular and intercellular tubercle bacteria. It means it is a tuberculocidal effect, and mechanism of action is unknown. And what are the pharmacokinetics? Pyrazinamide is well absorbed after oral administration and widely distributed in the body. It is metabolized in the liver and metabolites are excreted in urine. It crosses the blood-brain barrier. So what is the pyrazinamide? It is a prodrug converted into the pyrazinoic acid by the enzyme pyrazinoidase. And pyrazinamide is a synthetic analogue of nicotinamides. It is tuberculocidal drug to both extracellular and intracellular tubercle bacilli. The mechanism of action is unknown. And what are the pharmacokinetic? It is absorbed after oral administration and distributed in the body. It is metabolized in the liver and metabolites are excreted in urine. It can cross the blood-brain barrier. It's a product mechanism converted pyrazinic acid by pyrazinamide. Exactly, I have told you the mechanism is not known and probably decrease the mycolic acid synthesis. Antibacterial activity. Again, they are effective against both extracellular and intracellular tubercle bacilli. You know, there are 3 types of tubercle bacilli: extracellular, intracellular, and persistent, or you can say the dormant form. So where the extracellular bacilli are present, it is present on the cavity walls and are rapidly multiplying bacteria. So bacteria multiply in the cavity, and intracellular bacilli, they are present in the macrophages, and slow growing bacilli are the intracellular bacilli, and persistent, or you can say the dormant form, they are present in the central caseous lesions and remain inactive for some period. So there are 3 types of the tubercle bacilli, and the drug they affected the extracellular bacilli. Most of the drug they are effective because they inhibit the rapidly multiplying bacteria, while the intracellular, they are present in the macrophages and are slow growing bacilli. So isoniazid, rifampin, and pyrazinamide are effective, while the dormant, they are present in the central caseous necrosis and remain inactive for some period. So rifampin is the most effective agent that act. So again, the pyrazinamide, they are effective against the atypical and typical mycobacterium tubercle bacilli. Now the resistance, when given alone, like the same other drug, they produce resistance due to the failure of the conversion of product into its active form. No cross resistance occur with other anti-tuberculous drug. It means the one drug they produce the resistance, it doesn't mean the other drug can also produce the resistance. So no cross resistance can occur. I have told you that pyrazinamide kinetics are well absorbed after oral administration, widely distributed in the body. It also penetrates the drug into the CSF is excellent. And where it is metabolized in the liver, and metabolites are excreted in urine. And the plasma half-life of the pyrazinamide is 9 to 10 hours. What are the side effects? The major side effect of the pyrazinamide, again, the hepatotoxicity, nausea, vomiting, fever. They increase the uric acid level. They're not given in patients who have gout. Contraindicated. It is used along with other anti-tuberculous drugs, once a daily dose. Again, the major side effect of the hepatotoxicity, nausea, vomiting, fever. Now, here we have finished the first line, therapy. Now you have clear or any questions?